Welcome back, fellow Spartans, and welcome back to the HCS NA Regionals. We're live from Anaheim, California, and before the break, we saw United get over their Game 1, their Map 1 slump. They've done it, they're back on LAN, and, you know, they're a LAN team, so they took Pioneers out 3-0, an incredible result for this United team. And despite a couple of chokes here from Soul Snipe, he did kind of bring it back with his team just a touch, but unfortunately, United, they rallied together and were able to close out that Slayer pretty easily in a 1-kill advantage there. But United looking absolutely amazing. You can hear the roars of Spartan the Dog across the convention center, and rightfully so, because it was an absolutely insane performance from United and the boys. But I tell you what, we're on to our next elimination match, and we're on to our next array of guests on the desk. And I gotta say, I'm very, very happy to have you guys here, Gaskin, Walshy, and Jersey. And I gotta say, you're very coordinated today. You're looking lovely. I like this array of colors. I think you look really good. Very cool.
Probably good when we're not stood next to each other.
Yeah, that's probably why.
I know. I knew he'd go for green because he's Irish, but this was just a coincidence.
We definitely needed the Walshy separation to hold these two away from each other. We've had illegal transactions happening on the desk. We've had mute buttons being hit. So I think it's safe to say that Walshy in between is a definitely good shout. We have an elimination bracket match behind us, gentlemen. We have Sentinels versus G2 lined up. I'm excited about this one. Obviously, somebody is going to be going home at the end of this matchup. And the question is who? Let's talk about G2 to begin with, though.
Because they're going home?
Yeah.
Okay, just check.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, not quite. You don't know. Hey, look, they're going to be putting up a serious fight here. We have some pretty good players in the game going up against Sentinels here today. Talk to me about this, Gaskin. Talk to me about G2 and their journey so far this LAN, and potentially why that they could be sending Sentinels home.
I love this G2 roster. It has to be said. I think that they have shown great grit and determination to come back from some difficult situations in this tournament and previous tournaments. And I do think that if the game types are right, they could have a chance of taking down Sentinels, because there are some really strong game types for G2, but it all comes down to whether they feature in the series for me. And even though we've got 13 odd game types, when it comes down to a best of 5, like, it can be so difficult if some of those big game types for you don't pop up. Whereas for Sentinels, I just feel like they have a better array of maps. They are going to be a bit more comfortable. But I enjoy watching this roster. I think they'll put on a display for us, and I'm sure they'll put on an exciting series.
Indeed. Now, Walshy, when I look at the results for G2 so far in the winners bracket, they did get knocked down by Pioneers 3-2, right? But they've had a pretty clean record through the elimination bracket. They played Auction 3-0, and then they actually met Xset 3-0 again. So a bit of confidence coming forward for them in series. But is Sentinels a different breed of dog on this main stage for them?
Absolutely. I mean, Sentinels have been such a dominant force for so many years now. You can never take any series lightly against them. Not that I'm saying G2's taking it lightly, but even in a situation where you're on a roll and you're on a streak, you're not just going to bulldoze through a squad like Sentinels. I don't recall the last time I've seen any roster outside of something like a Cloud9 or an Optic 3-0 Sentinels.
Yeah, okay. I am understanding of this. But let's give G2 a little bit of credit here. Jersey, talk to me about this G2 roster and why they're so good. What are their strengths? What can they bring to the table that Sentinels really need to watch out for?
Well, I had the pleasure of actually casting over the games yesterday against Xset. They were super, super impressive. They dispatched them with relative ease, it must be said. I mean, you're doing it to the best player in the world, Kratos, as he likes to say. I don't necessarily agree with it, but he's able to say it. I'm really, really impressed by players in particular like Sabinator. I think if they're going to stand any single chance in this game, Sabinator needs to come up big.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're going to have some big X-Factor performances. I think they're going to have to really be on their ball, if they want to really take it down Sentinels here. I'm excited to talk to the boys about the boys in red. Let's talk about Sentinels. Obviously, again, yesterday, not exactly what they wanted, the results. You know, very disappointing loss for them. That game 5 just... It felt so incomplete, I think, in that series. It was kind of strange to look at, to be perfectly honest. So I think they're going to be pretty hungry going into today. Gaskin, we've talked about Sentinels and about their journey so far this season. But in terms of where they're at the moment for you in your head, what are you thinking?
I still think they're champions. I always look at the Sentinels roster and I try to convince myself otherwise, that they're not champions anymore and they're not the roster to beat, but I think they will always be that roster to beat until they are knocked down over and over and over again. And because they had that period where Royal 2 wasn't playing, we haven't really been able to see them take those losses too much. And the last time we saw this roster together, it was online, but they were winning the tournaments online. And yes, okay, they got knocked down to the lower bracket by Optic, but this is something that we've seen happen before. They get knocked down to the lower bracket and they turn into a different beast on the Sunday. I said there's a difference between a Friday and a Saturday Sentinels, but a Saturday to Sunday, they just turn up that one more notch.
They do indeed, and it's got to be said with Sentinels at the moment, obviously bringing in Royal 2 back again, they have their full squad, but there is problems that come with that, right? You know, this is the first LAN back, and really it's the first opportunity they've had to play with him in a tournament environment, regardless of LAN. Walshy, they look a little bit unconfident, actually, going into some of these series, and honestly, on occasion, a little bit lost in terms of objective, you know, having to slot Royal 2 back into the mix here and try and understand exactly what they want to do with objective as a team has come a little bit slow to the Sentinels. But, you know, what are you feeling in terms of that respect?
Yeah, I feel like the stats even show that. I mean, you might look at those stats and say Sentinels have the most kills on average per game, where it's shown like 72.3 kills per game. They're first in this LAN. That's a good or a bad thing, because that's saying, all right, they need to overslay in order to win these objectives. And sure, they can do that against some lower seeded teams, but when they get against these higher seeded squads, they're not going to be able to outslay them over and over again. In fact, when we saw them in a Game 5 slay against Optic, they got staked.
Yeah, they did indeed, and it's kind of surprising in moments like that, but I think it also shows you how good our top teams really are. You know, if you mess up, if you make a mistake, they will take a mile if you give them an inch. It's pretty bad, and it can be very disheartening. Do you think Sentinel should be disheartened coming into day number 3, Shazi?
I think what we've seen in the oddball, they clutched up in the end, but I think it was largely down in perhaps to Lucy throwing the ball to APG and a little bit of a mix-up there, and that handed the initiative straight back over to the boys on Sentinel. I think they've been a little bit tentative, a little bit negative, and I think the Slayer games in particular has been a real soft spot for them, and we've seen that against Optic, and we've seen it in scrims as well against the likes of G2. So I think with the series layout, the way it shakes out, I think if somehow G2 win game 1, they have a good chance of winning the series.
Yeah, indeed. It was interesting also to see that switch happen at the end of yesterday as well. You know, they're meant to be the clutch king, Sentinels. They're meant to have an incredible stat line when it comes to game 5s, and Optic are working on that. That is something that they've been working on. My goodness, it's clearly paid off, because they did an excellent job in game 5 yesterday. But G2 are the opponents of Sentinels this time around. We actually caught up with both of these teams to get their thoughts and feelings on themselves as a team, as a roster, tell us a little bit more about them. So check this out.
Yeah, I think this event is our just my team's most practiced event. Even just for me and all my teammates, we're just overall just super practiced and prepared the way we should be. And yeah, even our confidence levels and trusting each other is going up, you know, by the day.
It's free reign in the base. Nice. Goes in for the challenge, but the APG ends up getting the first kill. Utilizes the second one hit toss. Already starting to heat up, gets a hold of it.
Separate this team, make it 6 points as the ball does get dropped. Let's find one to trade it out, but he's got a lot of work to do up here in red. He finds one. Boobadoobaa's gonna run away with the ball. Oh my, Royal 2, welcome back. Side down, you better hide because he's got you.
Only Sentinels get that ball back in their hands, but now we've got to see Royal 2 do something. He gets both of them.
Chain. Royal 2 is wreaking havoc right now with the shock, and he does it again. It's a perfect shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is our event to win, just because obviously Royal 2 being back, it's our first attempt at really getting to compete against these top teams, you know what I mean? So someone's got to take out Cloud9, and I believe we're one of the teams that are capable of doing it.
Sentinels have their actual roster now. They used to have formal last events, so they have Royal 2 now, and I think we'll have a really good series with them. Hashtag G2 win.
I gotta say, there's a lot of respect actually coming back and forth there, especially from G2 to Sentinels, but I do feel a bit of humbleness coming in as well from Frosty and the Sentinel side. I mean, using words like attempt and, you know, we're one of the teams that could bring down Cloud9. I think, you know, that humbleness kind of plays into the way that they perform as a team, that, you know, their personality on the sticks, you know, they are kind of calm and collected. They do play like that. I think sometimes also, Dan, a lot of people can call them slow players.
Yeah, I mean, they are slow players. They do sometimes just allow the pace to trickle through a game, but when they need to explode, they will. But sometimes they just need that little bit of extra energy at times, and usually it's the coach behind them. It's Royal 1 who comes in and actually injects that extra energy into some communication just to make sure they don't get too lazy with stuff. I think this squad, they know they're good and they know they can win games, but at times maybe they're too slow. And you've got to have that man on your screen, Royal One, just reminding them of how quick the pace is of Halo Infinite. You can't afford to drop the ball. You can't afford to be in a spot where the other team is always going to be pressuring your spawns, because then suddenly you could be a significant distance behind an objective game or a Slayer game, which is something we've seen happen to Sentinels. A Slayer game where they were down by 11 to 15 kills against Exit. I mean, fair enough, they came back, but are they going to be able to do that against G2, for example? Are they going to do that against Optic or against Cloud9? We need to see Sentinels start quicker, I feel, in these games.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I think their slow pace that they've had previously in previous titles worked out great for them, but this is an entirely new title right now. This is a new game, and I think dictating the pace honestly can dictate the result of a series as well. Let's take a look right now at the series layout there and see exactly what's coming their way on this main stage very, very shortly. We've got Oddball Recharge to start things off. Shurzy, what are you noticing here about these 5 potential games?
Well, looking at the game types, I spoke about how Slayers is so important and how Sentinels have been struggling all tournament long. G2 have won in-scrim results against Sentinels in both these Slayers already. Recharge Oddball was the closest objective game type, so that's going to be their real chance to win the series. But if it goes to Aquarius CTF, that was a 5-0. Street Stronghold was 250 to 130, both in favor of Sentinels. So G2 are in trouble if they don't win map 1.
Yeah, I think map 1 is going to be a definite big one. And honestly, it's on Recharge, which Sentinels have struggled on in the past. Oddball also has been a little bit of a close affair here, Walshy. You know, let's talk about Recharge Oddball real quick, because if that is going to be the crux of this series for G2, how would they handle Sentinels here?
It's going to be tough, because when we saw it get to a clutch moment, when we saw Sentinels on Recharge Oddball against Optic, Lethal just absolutely clutched it up by making the right plays under pressure. So I'm not too worried about them when they get under pressure. It's going to be more of, can G2 get full control and just hold a setup?
Yeah, control is going to be key. Let's talk about 2 players on the main stage right now, our head-to-head. It's going to be Snakebite and Sabinator. Now, I've got to say, in terms of overall performance, both of these guys are kind of up there with each other here. I think, obviously, apart from assists in the game, with Snakebite winning that one and edging that one slightly, this is quite a good comparison in terms of performance. I think on the side of Sentinels, what Snakebite does really, really well is the support system he can produce for his team members, the way that he can dictate what they want to do, and he takes control. But not only is he taking control at the moment, he's also outslaying a lot of players.
This is the best I've seen Snakebite play in a long time, and that's no disrespect to how he's performed in previous tournaments, because he is always a player who is on top of his game, but he's stepped up in some areas where the team has needed him to, in both objective work, rotations, and slaying ability, and you combine all 3 of them in a game like Oddball Recharge, and there's no reason why they can't dominate both the start, the middle, and the end of this game. On the other side, for Sabinator, I mean, he's definitely a guy who individually can win those 1v1 engagements time and time again, and once he catches fire, he's so difficult to put out. So I think Sentinels have just got to be careful they don't give him too much free roam to kind of get behind them, to go for that flank, to pick up those big weapons. If we see Sabinator, for example, pick up a shock rifle and a mangler and just being able to control gold, then I am going to worry a little bit for Sentinels here. Yeah,
the one thing that I think Sentinels really need to focus on here and kind of educate themselves on before they get into the rest of the elimination bracket, if they get there, is pick up the power weapons.
Yeah.
My goodness, you're giving them to your opponents. This is where it becomes so difficult. I mean, yesterday, Snakebite, who was in our head-to-head here, managed to get 45 kills without power weapons, with nothing. It was literally his BR in himself. It would be so much easier for him and the rest of the team if they actually focused and prioritized on power weapons, on the sandbox around, to help them and aid them into some of these games. So I think we should all be watching out for that and see if Sentinels can push through and kind of improve on what they've been performing with. Now, it is time for predictions, folks. So let's get what we are thinking and feeling on the desk ready. And in 3, we're going to be giving our prediction. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Clutch wanted to say he was predicting G2. Just that's
yeah. Stop trying to do that.
No,
Don't do that.
He said,
don't
yeah,
do
Dan,
that.
I really want to predict
vote
G2.
for someone else.
No,
Don't
that's
do
what
that.
he said. He was like, oh,
No, put
I
that
want to
down.
predict G2. I want to be.
Got you.
Put that
I'm
down.
4K doing a
Got
felony.
you. Somebody on the back of mine has written shock. Just to let
Who
you
would
know,
do that?
but I don't know who would do that. But let's talk to the cast to see if it was one of them. Hello, Onset. Hello, Bravo. How are both of you doing? We've got an elimination match to get into. This is going to be a pretty big one here for G2 and Sentinels if they want to continue their journey on in Championship Sunday. How are you guys feeling about it?
Super excited. Understandably
My God,
so,
yeah.
right? We've been sitting here, drinking our coffee.
Ready to go.
Got a few waters in front of us, ready to get into the action. We've watched that first series, and trust me, it's a little bit of a fire under us to get into this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think it is. Well, you're both looking great. I know you're going to be sounding great. So without further ado, please take it away.
All right, then. Here we go, then. If finally we get to get back on that microphone, Andy, because we've been looking forward to doing it, what we do best on Championship Sunday, and what a series we have to kick things off. For us personally, we've had a great kickoff to the show with an amazing game that we saw before. United managing to scrape their way through that, but I mean, this series here is kind of the tale of two different teams, right? We've got Sentinels, everyone's had their eyes on them the whole tournament with Royal 2 coming back. We've kind of, beaten that one to almost to death at the moment, but on the other side of things, G2 have had a little bit of a run through the lower bracket. They've managed to pick up 2 back-to-back 3-0 victories yesterday to find themselves in this game. They took down XSET in their previous game, and just before that they took down Oxygen. So good form for G2 coming into this series.
Certainly, they've earned their place here in the bracket, and we're excited to see what they can bring on the main stage. You put it perfectly to me before this match onset. As you and I were walking inside this tournament venue, you said, which G2 will we get today? Will we get the standard G2 that people have come to know that's expected to get top 6, but we're not sure where their ceiling is? Or is this the team that can absolutely make a monumental run? That's the question ahead of them before this series.
I think it's a really interesting question that only they can answer as well. And they're going to have the opportunity to answer it now as we're already getting into this series. An opportunity to stay alive in this tournament for both teams, but unfortunately for one, this will be the end of the road here in Anaheim. It's G2, it's Sentinels, and most importantly, everybody, it's Championship Sunday.
It is Championship Sunday indeed. Welcome along here, twitch.tv/Halo, also on YouTube. Also, if you're joining us on the Xbox stream, great to have you with us. We are into the action. It's G2 versus Sentinels, keeping an eye on this opening rush between these two teams.
Not too many deaths either side at the moment. A few engagements going down. Tuski's going to pick up one. Straysig's going to be chasing, but he's going to be taken down as well by Royal 2, who's managed to pick the camo up off the break here. Great shots from Royal 2 as well. But there's actually a very interesting statistic that you saw just before this series got underway, and it's on the side of Sentinels, and it pertains to a player called Lethal.
Yeah, there is a really interesting stat line here for Lethal. In oddball specifically throughout Anaheim, one of the lowest ranked players in terms of a few categories. If you're looking at kill death and deaths per game and things like that, kills per game, you have to think it could be because he's really focusing on that objective. So we can't put too much stock into those stats, but we'll put some stock into that shock rifle shot from Snakebite here. However, no points on the board for either team just yet.
Tusk is going to be challenging, but knowing that shock rifle's in hand, I think it's a pretty smart idea for him to back down. In fact, he's going to be put on his back because that was Frosty who moved in to finish off that kill. But very interesting here, Andy. Already quite a lot of time has kind of dissipated in front of us, and nobody has got their hands on that odd ball.
You can tell teams really looking for control here, and this is not something that is rare. And when you're looking at a game like Recharge Oddball, you want to have control, you want to have the opening, the right amount of players dead before you look for those first grabs. Otherwise, you risk overextending a little bit too much.
Lethal, last player alive here. Frosty just coming off the respawn, so this is going to be a chance maybe to get that odd ball in hand, but Lethal prioritizing everything he needed to. They're making sure that Straysig didn't get away with that oddball. Most importantly, their Straysig didn't even get second on the board, so we're still tied up at 0-0.
And I think it's a perfect example. You might be wondering, how has this much time elapsed with no ball touches? That Straysig ball grab is a perfect example because when you grab that ball around batteries, you're so exposed to so many different angles, and it's rare that you're going to be able to get time, but Sabinator actually going to be able to grab the ball, start to maybe get over to C-Plat if he can to bring the ball away. Also going to think about doing some damage, just going to hold in long haul. I do want to point out also, Sabinator right now 12th in the tournament in KD in oddball specifically. This man knows how to play this game type.
He certainly does, and with the ball in his hands, he's going to be giving the lead and extending it to G2 Esports. The first time we've seen any kind of setup, but this is more of a transitional one here, Andy. Sab's had that ball in his hands. It started off a long haul. He's gone all the way through blue, through tower, now finds himself top elevator. Great rotation here from G2.
Got a lot of info there. He looked bottom elevator, saw a lot going on. Gilkey's going to help the cause as well. That's 2 dead for the side of Sentinels, and the ball time will continue ticking. Oh boy! Gilkey is here for Champ Sunday. That is a beautiful play with a repulsor stick against the sword player.
Oh, it's devastating if you're the sword player. Thinking you got everything you want lined up. You get pushed back, you get stuck in the face, and you find yourself just looking at the sword in the death screen. Now it's going to be Gilkey controlling tower. Tusk is getting some pings out, and there's going to be that repulsor coming into play once again. This time a little bit of movement tech, but Gilkey, with this combination of sword and shock rifle, has to be super accurate. Here's the body shot there onto Frosty, who had no shields. 3 players, though, fall for G2. It's a 39-0 lead as a double kill now goes into the hands of Snakebite.
Snakebite there hoping he had a different opportunity to snag that ball, but that's not going to work, so instead just hits a dud of a repulsor. He's going to hold the sword top control, though, but still, look at that. Solid 39 points for G2 early on in the match.
Easy kill there for Snakebite, making it a simple double. 39-0 still the score, though, and the problem here for the kills happening on this side of the map, Andy, is that even though you know, G2 are 3 dead at the moment. The fact they're getting those pipe spawns means it's difficult for Sentinels to get their hands on that oddball, but this flank from Snakebite might be another double kill. Maybe that's the opening they need.
Snakebite is 11-5. Beautiful killing spree. I caught him in the hotel yesterday. All I could say to him quickly was, dude, your POV looks amazing. Every time we've seen Snakebite's POV this tournament, the man has been clinical and ruthless. Really impressed with what we've seen from him. And if there's one thing we know about Sentinels, it doesn't matter what the score is mid-game. These guys know how to close out a match.
They certainly do. Gilkey should be taken down as well. That's another +1 to add to the statistic line of Snakebite, who now finds himself at 12-5. But even though he's picking up kills, arguably the most important thing on the map, outside of the oddball, the camo is in the hands of Tusk from G2.
Big opportunity here for Tusk. No need to panic. Take your time. Get the kills you need. Get the damage you need to coordinate another push. Great teamwork here.
Sentinel's starting to get back into this one a little bit, but the camo play is vital. Snakebite has no idea that Tusk has changed his routing towards that oddball. Camo now has expired, and the oddball is in the hands of his teammate as well. So G2 looking good in this round, 43 and rising to 17. Snakebite still has that sword in his hand and still picking up kills. Here comes Frosty, 3 dead for G2, but where is that oddball?
Oh boy! Gilkey still with the shock rifle. You thought the Gilkey show was over? You were wrong. He's back here, grappling right back into the action as well. Let's see if he can do it against Frosty as well. No. Frosty answers back, but still very good control here from G2 around Elevator. They know they need to stack right here, right now.
Royal 2's going to be caught out here as well. Lethal picks up one onto Tusk. He's going to be trying to push.
Oh, boy.
But he's only going to run into the charge. And that's going to be Sab picking up another one with the shock rifle. Sab with the triple kill. G2 with the hold, and they cross the 50-point line.
G2 looking very, very strong. Beautiful control here. Like we said, when you're controlling back Elevator, you need to be able to stack players here repeatedly, constantly off the spawn. You need to at least keep one player alive, and anyone who's spawning needs to fly back into this area. That still gives them a nice 40-point lead. Sabinator not done yet. Look at this guy so far looking so strong. He's also 10-8.
Lethal picks up one, bottom elevator, but he's going to have his shields just stripped away here. Has the manga in hand. The next shot is vital. It's going to be a stick coming in, a trade, and a killing spree ended as soon as it started there for Sabinator. Snakebite's still alive as well, but the issue here for Sentinels is it's trade after trade after trade, and that's been the story of their tournament so far.
It really has been 2 dead for each side momentarily once again. If you're wondering why G2 looks so strong in this game type, maybe you're surprised by it. Keep in mind, they did win their last game against KCP 2-0 on this exact game type as well, so this is certainly one of their stronger game types.
Royal 2 now. First time we've seen his POV in this game for quite some time. Sam's going to be pushing him as well, and confidence coming in from G2. Snakebite wins the 1v1. Lethal's got away with a camo though, so maybe this is a chance for the oddball to be picked up here for Sentinels. They've only got 8 seconds on the game timer here, so that's why Lethal is having to sacrifice some map positioning to hold the oddball in his hands, because with 8 seconds to go, a couple of kills going down to G2 here, that ball's not going to get picked up, and the round will go in their way.
He desperately knows he needs to get the ball over to Whirlpool here. The ball's down. Now the time's going to tick. Who is there to grab it? They do get the grab. 4 seconds left. They could bring this back if they get the kill on Gilkey and Pipes.
Snakebite needs to get that kill. Gets the trade, but Gilkey gets a beat now.
2 seconds. Look at the timer.
Snakebite get away? That's the question. 2 seconds left, like you quite rightly highlight here. Royal 2 and Lethal are going to be spawning on the long haul. And the issue here is maybe Snakebite's thinking, I could throw this across normally to my teammates. But he can't let go of the ball. 1 second left on the clock. Royal 2 gets the catch, but here's Tracing.
Oh my God, he needs to stay alive. That's going to be it. Oh my God, in the nick of time, G2 ends the round. They will win it, and you thought it was going to be another Sentinels comeback. Not so fast. G2 will take the first round of game number 1.
Such an interesting round though. Sentinels, you know, why was it taking them so long to realize that they could hold that oddball? I know it sounds like a strange thing to say because trades are happening across the board, but you can see how the scrappy nature can work on this map.
Absolutely, and it worked out there. As we said, both teams really looking for control early on. However, it started to get pretty scrappy towards the end, and it was forced, as you said, because Sentinels let so much time elapse. I'm expecting in this second round for Sentinels to be a little bit more efficient, a little bit quicker in the time that they take to get the kills in order to get the right oddball setups.
Oddball going to be thrown back towards Turbine here. Snakebite and Frosty pick up kills now. Can they pick up the oddball? Yes, they can is the answer to that question. Snakebite's going to bring it down towards Royal 2 here, and he looks like he's going to rotate towards Elevator, making sure that he can't get caught out. Royal 2 now playing bodyguard, and if you want anyone to be your bodyguard in a Halo, whatever Halo you're going to be playing, it's going to be Royal 2, but Snakebite's going to have to do a little bit of work himself with this Mangler.
Nice work here for Snakebite. Helps with both of those kills and grapples away. Doing it with style.
Managing to escape for now, but Unfortunately gets taken down. Frosty and Sab, they're going to exchange kills as well. 2 dead per side here. Straight now, a little bit of his POV, a player that I'm always very excited to watch because he is what I would describe as a hot and cold player. Sometimes he can go a little bit quiet in a big series, but at the same time, if this man catches fire, oh my, G2 can go on a run.
I think you and I agree. Straight Sick is a key to this team's success. If this team is to go very far in this tournament, you will need to see the best out of Straight Sick. He's a bit of an X factor in that way, but my God, when he is playing, he is frying right now. A small lead for the side of Sentinels, and this one is G2 is going to look to end this game as quickly as they can, but we got to highlight once again on the other side, it's Snakebite. He's already 6-3 when you still have several players in the game only on 1 kill.
Lethal trying to get that oddball back to Elevator as well, but the issue is you can see a little bit of inconsistency already from Sentinels. They knew that Straight Sick was still hanging around bottom middle. Snakebite was the player who got taken out. Lethal tried to force that ball back, but the time it took for him to get the ball back to Elevator meant that G2 have had to respawn. They've managed to push across the map, and now you've got Royal 2, who's going to have to make a play to keep Gilky's hands off that ball.
Gilky, last player alive. He knows he needs to play his life as best he can here. He's done very well, but eventually he gets sniffed out by presumably some great comms coming in from the side of Sentinels. They also have Camel to play with now. Here's Lethal.
First time we've seen Sentinels with a perfect setup, and what I mean by that is everyone is in the position they need to watch each other's crosses, to give information to each other, and they're going to get the first kill off the back of it as well. Sentinels now, can you make this hold work for you for an extended period of time?
Oh boy, look at this, Lethal. Oh. Drops down. I like that play because you do not want to waste the camo on your top 8 door. Oh my God, somehow G2 just flies through. They win that battle.
Royal 2 is going to have to rotate. I like this though. Throws it towards tower. You would expect Sentinels to maybe spawning around that C-plat, but there's Gilky again, and he gets no damage down onto Gilk, who's now going to walk forward, grab that oddball, and a little bit of a misstep once again from Sen.
Unfortunate for Royal 2. I loved him hugging that A door. He had a plasma and a repulsor left. There's no reason he should be able to hold that door. Maybe he had a little bit more information than we did in terms of the angles that were going to be coming across from angles like top yellow, but like you said, unfortunate that Sentinels was unable to hold in that scenario.
Straight Sick versus Frosty. Straight Sick has the advantage there. Frosty, uncharacteristically there, just missed a couple of shots in that fight, even though the angle was a pretty difficult one to make sure that you come out on the top of. There's a beatdown from one player above Lethal. Lethal still manages to survive for now. It was Royal 2 who took the brunt of that punch.
All this time, though, look at this. The game is now tied up. They let all that time tick by with that hold. It's just happening right next to this at control, and Sentinel's doing what they can to try to get control of the control area, but look at what cost. Now the game is essentially tied.
3 dead. Make that 4 dead, though, for G2 Esports, but they did manage to get the play ball. So even though the work was done there by Sentinels to clean the players out of the setup, it doesn't transfer into ball time, something we're certainly going to be keeping our eyes on as this game progresses.
It's a very good play ball from G2. You see how pivotal that was, because Sentinels, like you say, still has not grabbed the ball after that round of slays. But you got to say, Sentinels certainly with a much stronger start in this round 2. A little bit of a wake-up call maybe from that first round.
Snakebite gets taken down though. The team fire coming in from G2, absolutely superb. Sab now trying to move down on that camo. Frosty's trying to do what he can to stay alive, but also keep the hands of G2 off of camo and oddball. Manages to pick up one onto Sab. Now needs to hit a big shot to take out Tuss with that camo. Tuss survives for now, and Gilky keeps him alive as well. And now the camo and the shock rifle are back in the hands of G2.
Oh boy, in the hands of G2, and so is the scoreboard now. Going to be 49-41. They're going to continue holding as well. That's another kill, and looks like if they can just prioritize this kill on Frosty and Lethal, they will get even more ball time.
So much info from Tusk. He knows where every single player who is alive on the map from Sentinels is, and that means that the rotation path can be cleared as well for that ball carrier. But there's Lethal, somehow managed to sneak up behind him and pick up a very important kill. Sab's going to trade it out to even up the numbers for a few seconds. Royal 2 will also fall, though, for Sentinels, and now Lethal's got some work to do himself.
He does. He did a very nice job timing that push, as you said, on Tuss with the camo. Now they're going to be able to get ball in hand again, but this is great shots from Sab, first of all, but this is the danger zone for the side of Sentinels. What was just a 35 or so point lead is now a 30-point deficit, 71-41, and G2 only 30 points away from closing out the round and the game.
Sab with that kill onto Snakebite as well. He's going to keep them at bay for just a few seconds longer, and I tell you what, a few seconds might be a game at this point. Lethal's trying to force his way through Turbine. He'll be taken down to no shields, and he's got nowhere to go as well. He's going to have to take a few seconds to wait for those shields to come back, and he's not going to be allowed to because Sab is going to pick up the kill. However, Sab is the last player alive. G2 now find themselves 4 dead momentarily. Royal 2 with the ball in his hands, and now Sentinels need to hold.
That's right, 4 dead, and then the fourth first spawner was killed as well. So this is an opportunity to hold. You're going to see C-plat spawns for everyone, and you can see that they're trapped right now. They have elevator hold, they have the top yellow hold. Here comes the long haul push. You just saw Gilky.
Royal 2 picks up the first kill though. Sab's going to trade it out, but Lethal gets the numbers back in the favor of Sentinels. Now Snakebite's going to have to hold. Straight6 trying to force his way through the pipes. 4 dead here for G2. And I tell you what, Sentinels, this looks like a super stronghold from them.
And here's what I think all Sentinels fans thought on that first round. If just a little more time, and also a camo grab for Frosty with the Mangler as well. Just a little more time, and Sentinels has won that. They didn't give themselves enough time. They've stepped it up in round number 2, and they're poised for the comeback. They're only 10 points away.
Now I need to see a little bit of composure here from Frosty as well, as strange as that sounds, but he needs to put himself in the position to get the kills. He gets one, but takes beatdown damage. And you saw one player from G2 sneak through to kill Snakebite. And with that, they've managed to sneak through, get the ball out of the hands of Sentinels, but also managed to get that ball played and get the reset.
Killing spree for Frosty. He's 14-12 right now, stepping up in this second round, as we said. Now look at the clock, though. Look at the ball in the hands of Straight6. Yoki doing what he can. 1 dead right now for Sentinels, and they're only 12 points away from winning the game.
I can't believe they let that player slip through. Sentinels just a few moments ago, that was almost a guaranteed 20 seconds for them. Extra at the back of blue, and with the option to play ball as well if the kills didn't go in their favor. Is it going to cost them? That's the question. It doesn't look like it for now, as it looks like Royal 2, with the ball in his hands, is going to put Sentinels into the lead with only 10 points needed to tie up game number 1.
They might be holding on this hold. All they have to do is watch these angles. This should be it if he can get around the sneaky. I think they're going to hold and win right here. Ball is down!
You say that, but G2 say no. Frosty now has to move in. He's no shields, trying to keep Snakebite alive. 3 players fall now. Lethal falls as well, and G2 have the ball in their hands, and they need 10 points, and I don't think there's anyone from Sentinels there to stop it.
I think you're right. I think you're right, and I will gladly stand corrected. They should have the time. There's no way a spawner gets across here. They're not going to let it happen.
Royal 2, Lethal pick up kills, but it's only 3 seconds left. Make it 2,
wow.
Make it 1, and it's 1-0 in the series here to G2. They clutch up at the end of that round, but I'm looking at Sentinels here, and I'm thinking, boys, you threw that one away.
Threw it away without a doubt. Both times, what do we talk about with Sentinels? We talk about objective efficiency, and they are late to the party in both rounds, especially so in round number 1. But in the end, it's great pressure from G2 on that long haul and that sneaky from bottom control, from mid-bridge, to force that ball carrier into an awkward position. They were not able to hold there. They get 4 dead, and they went on a solid, convincing hold. Very cool, calm, and collected to close out the second round.
Yeah, I think G2 deserve all the plaudits in the world there for the way that they played the end of that round. When you've got 1 push left, you have to be so disciplined, and Tusk managing to get those opening kills to finish off the weak players is so vital. But I gotta say, at the end of that round, if you're Sentinels, they win that 99 times out of 100. It was a big blunder from them. They should be tied up at 1-1 in that game.
That was, I mean, look at the totals here you're seeing on screen as well. If we take a look exactly how many points were on the board, as we said, I think in both cases, if those games are a minute longer, you could argue that those are Sentinels wins.
But they ain't.
But they certainly are not. You're absolutely right. Those games are not a minute longer. They are exactly as long as they are 12 minutes total on those clocks, and it was not enough time for Sentinels to close it out. We're taking a look at some replays here from that first game. G2 up 1-0.
Now, Shazi was saying on the desk, and quite rightly so, that if G2 could take this first game of the series, they might have a chance of winning the series overall, because now we move towards Slayer, and we're going over to Bazaar, and Sentinels haven't had the best Slayer performances so far in this tournament. You were mentioning, we caught up with Snakebite in the lobby at the hotel yesterday, and he was saying to us, it just feels like the way that Slayers are played at tournaments is different to what they've been playing in scrims. And with Royal 2 coming back in, they're really just struggling a little bit with their pacing, especially when things start to slow down.
Yeah, I think that's what we've seen. And you're going to have to see what the Championship Sunday roster of Sentinels brings to these Slayers, because if there's ever been a time to turn it on, first of all, it was about 15 minutes ago, and now is that was the best time, and now is the second best time to turn it on if you're on the side of Sentinels. Look at that pop off from G2. They are hyped. You can tell how much that win means to them. It's a 2-0 on the board. Not just a game 1 win, but a very convincing one at that, with strong late game performances. As you said, now we go to Slayer Bazaar. Some interesting results for these two teams on their last outings in these games. We did have the side of Sentinels playing against Optic Gaming. Playing against FaZe. They won that 50-41. We also had G2 playing against the side of KCP. They lost that 50-42.
They didn't indeed, but overall, G2 having a pretty good record. It's just that one loss, like you mentioned, on Bazaar. So they certainly are going to be looking at this as a massive, massive opportunity to put themselves onto series point if they can steal this game away. And I was asking the question that you raised quite rightly, like, what G2 are we going to see today? Well, I think we're starting to get the answer here. And if they go up by 2, then there's another question to be answered, but I'll bring that up if they do manage to do so.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. It's one we would certainly look forward to. Would create a spicy series indeed, but right now G2, as you say, needs to focus up cannot get too much in their heads after that first Game 1 win. They have a lot to be proud of, but a lot to look forward to in this series as well. And I agree, Onset. I think we have seen a different G2 here so far in this game number 1. They look very strong, perhaps the best we've seen them in a long time. They'll have to bring that into game number 2. Keep in mind, they're going up against an opponent that won this game type by a 10-kill margin. They lost this game type by a 10-kill margin. It needs to be a different Bizarre Slayer for them.
It certainly does, and we've already seen one pretty crazy Bizarre Slayer today. Let's hope that this one brings just as much excitement. It's game 2 of the series between G2 Esports and Sentinels, and this opening break, as we know, so vital to both teams. 50 kills is the target, but if you can start the game with an overshield, a rocket launcher, and a grapple shot, you're probably going to be a little bit closer than the other team.
That honestly could be the difference, right? When you're talking about 10-kill differences in Bizarre Slayer, the opening rush can be the start. We oftentimes see this one be pretty lopsided, starting things off with Gilkey.
Let's see what Gilkey can do then. He's going to pick up that thrust off spawn. He's going to be challenging Royal too, and I love that from Gilkey. Not many players will take this fight, but I tell you what, Gilkey's never short of confidence. Tusk going to get that overshield early on. He's going to get a little bit fried, but not too much. A little bit singed around the edges there by those dynamos. A good start here for G2.
Yeah, Tusk will be very happy with that overshield grab. Frosty, though, with the rockets on the other side, keep things close.
Should pick up 2, does pick up 2. You can see you're just a little bit hesitant there for a second, deciding if you wanted to waste that rocket and confirm that kill. But as I said out loud, confirming the kill, always a better thing to do than letting that player slip away.
Look at G2, right? They find themselves down by just 1. Sab's the first one to go out, but I think that's an overextension. I think we're going to see Sab fall in just a should have. But doing the spike nades and Snakebite pushing, we should have seen Sabinator fall. He doesn't, though, which is interesting. It's going to give you a little bit of space for a moment for the side of G2, but that's shut down right away. And as quickly as I say that, they take their time and they get the lead 6-2. Nice work off the opening from Sentinels.
Sentinels looking like they're starting to click. They're down 1 in the series at the moment, but it seems like the form is starting to come back. Let's jump straight into an Astro listening now with Sentinels to see what the comms are like.
Make sure, I'm holding for shocks. Hold here for shocks. Shocks are soon. Wait for PG to get shocks. I'm watching your door.
You guys, do we have dynamos? Do we have dynamos?
Not yet.
Soon. Okay, let me know, because I have spikes. We'll nuke their VR.
We have dynamos now. Now?
Alright, hold on.
You just tell me when.
Wait.
They're rocket side?
Yeah, rocket side.
On their steps into their BR, they're gonna try to kill
2 rockets on me. I can't help.
One shot.
He's weak their trench.
Okay, yeah, guys, they're trying to bully me rocket side. You guys can bully tree or BR if you want.
I'm one shot.
Alrighty. They're trying to bully me.
They're weak in their BR.
Alright,
20 seconds, Ovi, guys.
They're doubles.
I'm here, PJ.
Nice, PJ, 2 dead. Let's push. 3, nice.
Watch the tree.
We killed double.
That's two. No. We never killed doubles. Tusk.
One Tusk.
Guys, come back for us, quick. PJ, come back.
I'm already marked.
Grapples up as well, guys. Let me get this.
Yeah, their BR. Their tree.
Well, you can see the Frosty's kind of leading the comms here for Sentinels, something we've seen so much in those moments that matter, and always love listening to Frosty because he sees the map top down, not just what's in front of him.
Man, great comms from the side of Sentinels. If you're a fan of this side or even just a fan of high-level competitive Halo, you love what you heard from them, timing every single piece of equipment on the map. You heard even talking about dynamos and the strategy of that. If you have spikes and dynamos, you heard what Frosty said, we can nuke their BR. Right, you can actually send grenades into every corner and actually take players out of these heavily isolated areas of the map. As we say that, though, G2 does answer back with a few kills of their own. It's within 5.
Royal 2 taken down by Gilkey as well. Good cover fire. The Dynamo's not quite managing to fry in the way that they would have wanted there. As Gilkey did stay alive. Sab now going to pick up another kill, and all of a sudden G2 starting to get back into this one. Frosty falls, and those rockets are going to be popping in 10 seconds. So even though it was a really strong start coming in from Sentinels, now it's just a 2-kill game, and mid-map control is in the hands of G2.
Strong plays from Gilkey. He will get traded out, but just so selective with the angles that he exposes himself to in that moment.
Looking across the stats at the moment, Lethal having a bit of a struggle at the start of this one. 0 and 4 yet to get a kill on the board. For G2, every single member, just as I started the sentence, had 3 kills, but Sab will pick up another one. But as I say that, Sentinels roar back into the game. 17-3, that was all 4 dead for G2.
Essentially just a few series of trades. They're almost 1-for-1 over that last exchange. In the end, it will be rockets that do come, 1 rocket, that comes in the hands of Snakebite. An opportunity to extend a little bit further. It will stay a 5-kill game.
Snakebite's hunting. He finds some prey as well. Tusk is going to go down. Royal 2 picks up another kill as well, so that's now going to be a 20-13 swing in the favor of Sentinels. And with that, again, mid-map control this time is in their hands. They should be able to secure this next overshield, especially with those spike grenades flying towards the bar.
Now let's remind everyone, in the first few weeks of Halo Infinite, you did not hear players and coaches saying the exact times on the dynamos. People have learned just how important they are. You need to be timing the dynamos. Look at that. There's a perfect example of that. They're also going to grab the overshield. We'll see if he can pop it. It's a great drop from Snakebite. He pops it. He locks it. But unfortunately, he drops it.
Straight Sick is going to pick it up. And G2 are going to look to use this overshield now to just bully a few players from Sentinels, maybe create a little bit of a space. And this is what they're doing now. Royal 2 is going to have the Mangler trying to work with Frosty. No. And I tell you what, Tusk and Sabinator were just a second off of keeping Straight Sick alive there. 2-4 for Sentinels, but it is a commanding lead now for them.
2-fall for G2 as well. Those are trades they didn't want on bottom Rockets. You saw they had the angles there. They would not have wanted to trade out those kills. That's going to keep this an 8-kill game now. Sentinels just slowly extending their lead, and they're very happy to trade 2 for 1 for the rest of the game. They're playing very well, but just to get back to the timing there as things slow down just a bit, you also heard Royal 1 calling out the exact timing on grapple, things like that. These guys are on top of everything they need to be, and it's showing on the scoreboard.
It's a stressful time to be a coach. That's all I can say. You know?
Let me tell you, as a guy who coached during Halo 2, that was a stressful time, but now this is once again a stressful time. It feels like we're back on Beaver Creek.
One thing to note here for G2 Esports fans, and maybe people who are watching who don't know too much about competitive Halo Infinite, is even though this seems like a pretty big lead here for Sentinels, Bazaar Slayer is one of those games that can snowball out of control very quickly. It's not uncommon to see 8-kill swings, 12-kill swings if you control everything on the map. Sentinels getting the trades they need to, but as I say that, look at this score once more. A few moments ago, Andy, it indicates my point perfectly. This was a close game, now it's just 4 kills.
4 kills was an 8-kill game just moments ago, just like you said, and the Sentinels is the team that we're actually seeing that we're used to seeing on the comeback in Slayers, but now it's G2 giving them a run as well, keeping this game very close. You might have placed a bet moments ago that this was a runaway victory as it was 28-20. Just like that, 30-26, 4-kill game.
Lethal playing this top Rockets position. Rockets are going to be popping up as well. Tusk should be finished off here by Lethal. Snakebite picks up another. Mid-map control for Sentinels. They get 3 dead. Lethal leading the charge this time. And now the Rockets should be in their hands
Overshield
as well. Overshield pops as well. And that's going to be in the hands of Royal 2.
Hasn't popped it yet. Gonna wait and wisely just conservative pop there. I was wondering if he might try to go tree first, get an angle, and then with a late pop to try to win the victory, but I like this from Royal 2. There's no need for that at this stage. You have a comfortable enough lead where you can just use that overshield to get the damage.
Now it's just baiting because all of G2 know where Royal 2 is. They know where the overshield is. What does that allow Lethal to do? Walk across the map, pick up 3 kills, and that's exactly what he did. G2 now find themselves down by a considerable margin again. It's a 8-kill difference between the two teams.
Once again, perfect timing from Frosty and Royal 1 on the Bulldog. The second it pops, they grab it in hand. They are on top of everything across this map, 38-29, and continuing to patrol. If they can continue trading at this pace, they will close out this game number 2.
Still 8 kills here for Sentinels. Need 12 to close out game 2 and tie up this series. Snakebite picks up one of those 12. As Frosty now drops down into the sewers, and look at this, Tusk got no idea, but he's going to have to turn around quickly. The call-out comes through. Tusk stays alive, Frosty will fall.
Not over yet. 8-kill game. Snakebite trying to fight out of bottom sewers. Not going to be easy, make it a 7-kill game, and the Mangler actually topping the Bulldog in that instance. Going to be 3 dead as well momentarily for the side of Sentinels. As we said, still just a 6-kill game.
Sab's going to send it as well. He saw the players in bar. He's got the Bulldog. Frosty's trying to stay alive. Frosty will not stay alive.
Look at this play.
And also Sab will. So a swing of epic proportions again towards the end of this game. It's 3 kills now between the two teams. That was 4 dead for Sen.
G2 constantly answering back, and absolutely beautiful technical plays from Sabinator there to jump out against Frosty with the Bulldog and then grapple up to stay on height rather than having to take a route up top. Just min-maxing as much as he can. And as you say, 3-kill game with 4 minutes to go, and this is one hell of a series so far.
This is the definition of nail-biting now for both these teams. G2 know if they win this game, they're up by 2. They only need to take 1 of 3 games, and they win the series. They pack the bags of Sentinels, but no. Sentinels find themselves on the receiving end of the kills they do not want to be on. 41-39, and with those kills, Overshield now in the hands of Straight Sick.
Lethal stays alive and he gets the information, but you can see he was helpless against that Overshield. Nothing he could even do, and they're going to be have to be content sitting in the back of their base.
This push could be the game. Lethal tries to work with Royal 2 to negate that push, but there goes the sending. The grapple shot player goes into bar. All of Sentinels are trapped to the back of this base now. G2 have the chance to push. Royal 2 has no idea that Straight Sick is there. Tusk picks up 1. Royal 2 gets taken down as well. It's a tie game.
Look at that push from the side of G2. They'll trade out just a little bit here, so it will go with a minor lead in favor of Sentinels. Once again, 43-42 now. G2 going to have to be careful.
This is a scrappy 2v2 inside of this base as well. Sentinels have a 1-kill advantage. As I say that, Tusk takes down Snakebite. It's all tied up up at 43 all.
My God, G2, as you said, with the full Sen, you saw Gilkey with the full Geronimo there, flies into the bar. Somehow they get the kills that they needed to tie this game up.
Rockets and Overshield are up as well.
To lead.
Snakebite's managed to get the Rockets, even though G2 got the lead. It's only a 1-kill lead. Snakebite has all the pressure in the world on his shoulders here. He needs to pick up kills with these Rockets. G2, they can stand still. They can wait for a pick. They have that lead.
46-45, a few things happening in the kill feed there, but regardless score-wise, it will stay with a 1-kill lead for G2. You could just tell from Snakebite, he's actually going to lean back for just a second, a rare scratch of the nose. He knows this game has slowed down. Little drop of the rocks as well.
I tell you what, Frosty says, I'm going to go and win us this game, boys.
2 rockets in the chamber.
Had a little look across there just to see if he had a grapple. He doesn't have a grapple to play with, so Frosty now is going to be the player to watch here. We need to stay on this POV. He is the man with the power weapon in his hand. Overshield pop it in 5 seconds too. Takes a little bit of damage from that spike grenade. Checks the vent, nothing there for now.
Could pre-rocket this.
Sab, take it down to no shield. Snakebite picks up the first kill. Sab's going to fall as well. Snakebite picks up 2. Huge from the captain. As now Frosty can move in with the rockets. It's 1 kill to go here for Sentinels. And with 1 more rocket in the hands of Frosty, this should be the series tied up at 1-1.
Oh my God, talk about a SWAT team moving in with clinical precision. Just like that, they wipe out all 4 members. It was a beautiful set of exchanges and only 1 kill away.
Last time it was Former with the rockets. This time, it could well be Frosty, but it's the Overshield player instead who flies in. It's the captain Snakebite who picks up the 50th kill. And Sentinels tie up the series at 1-1, but boy, was that back and forth.
I cannot wait to watch that on replay, the entire end of that game as Frosty had those rockets and just perfect timing. 1, 2, 3, 4 players fall, and who else but Snakebite to fly in with a grapple Overshield in a 1v3. Still the confidence to know that he will hit the commando shots to close it out, but that is Sentinels at their best. When the game slows down, you don't want to give them the time to calculate those plays, because guess what? They're going to put every single piece together.
Well, I think that's why it was good for Sentinels, because what they struggled with? They struggled with a quicker pace when they need to go, when they need to slow down. When it all slows down, that's when you allow for the best minds in Halo to work out what they're going to do.
How about the fact that Frosty is top rockets, watching the Overshield pop up, and there's all these players around bottom middle on the market? If that's me, I'm panic rocketing everything bottom middle. Instead, he's got his BR out, he's picking the kills, he's assisting bottom middle, even saves a rocket for the end of the game.
20 and 10 from Snakebite. Unbelievable stats from PJ. Incredible stuff. Royal 2 picking up 12 as well, but that's the PJ show. 20 and 10. Without a doubt, the standout player in that game, number 2.
His stats have been incredible. Also in Slayer, he's performing even better than he has been over the Thursday Pro Series here in Anaheim, and even higher KD. And you're not surprised when you see numbers like that. It's a 50-46, and they have really held it back together here in this second game. As we said, a game type that they had a little bit of an edge on in terms of historical performances, at least this weekend here in Anaheim.
The good thing now that we get to a game 3 is we just take some replays from map number 2 is Sentinels, you would feel, have the advantage in this next map, Andy. You were looking at one of the stats that came out of G2 earlier on when we got to Street Strongholds. They struggled a little bit against a team maybe you don't expect them to lose maps to.
Yeah, absolutely. If we look at their first pool play matches on Stronghold Streets, we saw them narrowly win a match versus Incognito, 250-242. And if we look at the Stronghold Streets on the other side, it's going to be Sentinels winning their pool play match pretty handily. So if you look at the numbers, like we said, of the matches that have happened so far on this exact game type, Sentinels might have an edge here, an opportunity to go up 2-1 in the series.
Well, this was the push towards the end as well. You can see that. Basically, Sentinels threw everything. That was the definition of a nuke. And unfortunately for Snakebite, he was stood in the middle of it. But the game ended before the full detonation went off to take his life. But as we say, now it's tied up at 1-1. This is a massive game as far as the series is concerned. If G2 can take this one, CTF Aquarius is a strong game type for Sentinels. We've seen them be very, very good on it. And then we go to the Slayer Live Fire, which could go either way. I feel like if G2 want to come out on top in this series, it has to be here and now that they get themselves into the lead.
It is, and I think even though this is not one of their stronger game types this weekend, they need to make it their strong game type, because I agree, they also have problems with their results on Aquarius CTF, even in their most recent series against Kansas City Pioneers, where you have instead, on the other side, wins coming in for the side of Sentinels against FaZe. So that game type doesn't look good for them either. So like you said, if you're G2, you need to really clutch up, understand what your priorities here are are on this game type and make sure that you execute.
Yeah, if they get that win on the board now, it's live fire Slayer, game number 5 as well. And that can go anywhere. We know how fast-paced that can be. We know how a couple of kills can completely change the complexion of how that map can play. If you can grab a snipe, if you can grab yourself a heatwave, if you can get your weapons in the hands that you need to, G2 can take that game number 5. And with the way the Sentinels have been struggling with Slayers a little bit, taking that last game maybe out of the pool that we're looking at because they played that extremely well, there's an opportunity here for G2 if they can win one of these next 2 games.
Exactly. I think one thing to mention too is if you look at how G2 played that, we got to give them credit because they kept that game close. They were down by 8 multiple times and they brought the game all the way back. If we look at game 1 and game 2, that's a dominating G2 win and that's a Sentinels Slayer win by 4, right? Keep in mind, G2 still looks very strong.
Another thing just to throw on top of that as well was Sentinels had the weapons the majority of the time. Overshields, rockets, it seemed like
Dynamos,
they were always,
grapples, everything.
Always in the hands of Sentinels. And as you're barking in my face.
Hey, that's the bark of the Bulldog.
It is. Don't worry, I'll pet you on the head. That's fine. Let's go into our next map because G2 have the chance to go up 2-1, but so do Sentinels as well. We're tied up at 1-1 here as we see ourselves flying through the fly-through of Streets. It's going to be a little bit of Strongholds action here, and I'm very interested to watch both teams. G2 because of the pressure that's now on their shoulders after that loss, but Snakebite, let's see what the pacing is like for Sentinels after that win.
That's the question. How do they come out here? How do they start things off in this game type? They know that opening starts so strong here on a game like Strongholds.
One thing to keep an eye on as well is how are Sentinels surviving after they're picking up kills. One thing we noticed from the statistics, they're #1 for kills, but they're also pretty much #1 for most deaths at the moment. It just seems like trades. They're not being particularly efficient with how they're picking up their kills.
I agree. It's about slaying efficiency, right? You can have the most kills, but if you also have pretty close to the most deaths, it's not going to translate to a lot of control on the board. G2 with an early BC hold.
They do indeed. Frosty taking on Sab. Sab having to get that beat down. Onto him to take him down after the thrust did come in. Snakebite's going to get the conversion onto B. So now Sentinels have an element of control here, and Snakebite's just going to be playing his life. You can see he's just waiting for some information from the death screen of Frosty. The rest of G2 just trapped inside a tram at the moment. Good shots from Snakebite. They're going to force Straight Sick down. But I like how he's playing his life here. Just making sure that once he does damage, he's surviving so that he can hold some angles and hold some lanes down. One of them with this AR, but no!
Unfortunate timing. I don't know if you saw that. Snakebite was actually just screen watching a teammate's screen to see exactly where opponents were coming from. So he was a split second late on the AR trigger. Might have cost him there in Red Room.
Split second has been the difference so far for Sentinels in the majority of games that they have, unfortunately, come out on the wrong side of. Here comes Stray Sick now. Tusk picks up a kill here at C. No trade, though, with the Bulldog this time. AC now in the hands of Sentinels. Snakebite, again, trying to survive here, but gets cleaned out by Sab.
It's a great job by Sab, especially as one of the only players alive here. We jump in with G2, and they're off to an early deficit here, but a chance to take this game if they can get things clicking. Let's go to an Astro listen-in with the side of G2 Esports.
Rockets in 10.
There's Bulldog.
I have Bulldog.
B stairs, pushing.
C-box.
One in Frosty, B stairs. Do that, free rockets, guys. Keep
Music,
going.
guys, B stairs.
B stairs and music.
B stairs coming. He pushed
Last
me.
two.
I
couldn't, dude.
Rockets are now, rockets.
Yo, Shotty's on B-box.
The last one.
He's pushing bottom middle. Close to you. Might be behind you with Shotty. Nice, touch my guy with Shotty.
We spawned it.
That's fine.
2B. I wasted the last rocket.
Tires.
Let me get this.
I'm good. Yo, ATM gonna flank you guys.
One hit.
One hit, guys, help.
One hit. I flanked me. Push.
Nice.
I don't see him.
We can hold this. We can milk this.
Yo, I'm gonna look B.
He's on your cafe.
I'll get him. Oh, fuck. Watch out.
Thrust is back. Thrust is back also. Good.
Shoot C.
Yeah, shoot C, guys.
Yeah, we're literally good here.
Well, the comms here from G2 maybe a little bit more chaotic than we see from the side of Sentinels, which is to be expected as well. It's different teams, different energies here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one thing to notice if you're maybe new to competitive Halo or competitive FPS. You might hear a lot of what sounds like chaos and a lot of high energy communication. Not always a bad thing. It really comes down to individual preferences and playstyle here. This game, though, essentially tied up as G2 will take the lead now, 38-36.
Slim lead, though. Fine margins in this game number 3. And it will be fine margins all the way through the series that we see played in front of our eyes today. Tusk will be taken down. Great shots again from Snakebite, just protecting his teammate here. But look at the push now coming in from G2. They will get the reset onto B. They hold AB, even with Snakebite doing so much damage.
Yeah, really interesting there. You would have thought the Snakebite would have gotten called out, but I think G2 actually just disregarded and over-prioritized. They knew that a player who's on B stairs like that could not take down everything that was pushing towards B arcade. So instead, they'll hold back. Great prioritization of that kill on back A as well.
Kills fall in the favor of G2 here as well. So Sentinels are going to have to just take a second, wait for those numbers to get on the board. Look at the timing here from Frosty, though. He'll get an easy kill onto Straight Sick, who was just kind of hanging around those pillars. Lethal will get a trade onto Sab as well. 2 dead here for G2. Maybe the assault now coming onto B. It looks like that's the call coming in from Sentinels. They want to get the conversion here at Arcade.
Big numbers all the way off screen here. If we take a look at Sab, already 10-5 in this game. On the other side is Snakebite, unsurprisingly, at 8-5. Frosty not far behind him at 8-6. One thing we do have to point out is we do see Sentinels grabbing BC. Once again, they'll maintain scoring, but we should mention that was a long hold from the side of G2. It's already 83-46.
It was a long hold, but it was never a triple cap, and that's the important thing here in this particular game type, I feel, is getting in a triple cap. Even if it's for a few seconds, you get stuck on those difficult spawns to fight your way out of. You're always giving away a position when you jump into a stronghold. So Sentinels, even though they were under pressure for quite some time, they've turned things around now. It was never allowed to get out of control.
Straightick not aware of the angles and maybe the PD spawns that came in, and also the flank from Sentinels. They will lose both rockets, and we got to see where those rockets go, because that will determine how this plays out.
This might be the first triple cap of the game as well. Snakebite has the rockets. Just saw him pop up in the kill feed. He took down Sab, and here we go. Sentinels will go into the lead. Plus, they have rockets, and they've just been given the information of spawns as well. It will all be Pink Street. Royal 2 goes down, so G2 do a good job of making sure that they at least get one stronghold on the board, but Frosty's got to survive for now. Picked up 1 kill with the rockets, but 2 teammates have fallen.
G2 certainly did not have the information they needed there. You saw Straightick with a man advantage, also rockets in hand. He's going down B Street and gets taken down without even firing a rocket. And just like that, it's Sentinels now with a 112-83 point lead. As you said, they waited. They let the time tick when they were against a double cap. And once they were able to grab those rockets, now they're starting to run away with it. And that is an unfortunate series of events for the side of G2.
Stalker rifle with the hands of Frosty as well. He's going to be able to lock down so many lanes, deal out so much damage as he goes 5 in a row, picking up that killing spree as well. 131 and rising. The push from G2 coming in, but look who's looking at it. It's going to be Frosty, who's putting so much damage down. Royal 2 and Snakebite clean up the kills. Easy work, light work for the rest of the Sentinels.
Straightick's going to hop in, but I bet they're going to get this kill on the reset as well. That will be 4 dead for the side of G2. And Frosty, like you said, anchoring with that Stalker rifle, knew exactly when he had to leave the balcony, come out of the nest, and go ahead and pick up the kills as well. Now they're threatening another trip cap.
Spawn information coming in as well. It looks like the push is going to come in from G2 towards C, but the Stalker rifle is just going to be shredding through shields from Frosty. None of the kills been cleaned up quite yet. There's Royal 2 picking up 1 though. And here's Frosty saying, I don't need too much help because I got a Bulldog. This will be another triple cap coming in for Sentinels as G2 are struggling to even stay alive on the map.
Oh my damage. Frosty is heating up, folks, and he's going to be a melted snowman in no time today on Championship Sunday. He is 13-6 with 9 assists, doing so much damage all across the map. It has led to an enormous 100-point swing here. It's 196-83. Sentinels looking good.
Lethal not quite getting the kills with those rockets, but getting a lot of information from his position. It looks like the call has come in now just to give up C. Maybe think about going back to B for the conversion, but he gets shredded. This time it's the Stalker rifle in the hands of G2, and if you're wondering how influential rockets are, yeah, they're pretty good. But the Stalker rifle, my word, Andy, it can completely dominate this map.
In the right hands, as you saw earlier, it can entirely prevent an entire hold. It can help to get a 4 dead scenario. 3 dead for the side of G2, 2 dead for the side of Sentinels here. An opportunity perhaps for G2 to come off this respawn, but they need to act quick.
Lethal going to be moving towards C. It looks like they're going to try and flip things here. They're going to give up A. Frosty is playing sneaky at the back of A, and maybe we'll be able to work with Royal 2 here to sneak in and not get a reset, but maybe pick up the kills and look to turn it back over. Gilkey does a great job, though, of flushing that player out. Not even just 1, he picks up 2, and that's vital for G2, who now have control of A and C.
You cannot even put a price on how valuable that was there. If you looked at that from this POV, we thought that was a Frosty flank that was maybe going to result in a double kill. Instead, Gilkey picks up both of the kills in the back. They will continue scoring. This game isn't over yet.
This is a difficult moment here as well for Sentinels. They're trapped to B. Royal 2 gets a trade. Frosty picks up another with a stick, but Lethal last player alive. Straightick will be able to get the conversion onto B here, you would imagine, and that means a triple cap now for G2.
Wow, look at the timing there. Straightick pops out for just a second, pops back in. They will finish it. A momentary triple cap, but they cannot afford to lose complete control over that, and it looks like A and C will be ticking.
Needs to be a play call here. Do we protect A? Do we protect C? It looks like it's going to be A, and Tusk is going to pick up a trade on Lethal, who had those rockets. Now Straightick finds himself as the last player alive here. He's got to defend against an onrushing Sentinels. It's only going to be a matter of time, but I love this play from Straightick, not showing any presence whatsoever as Lethal is trying to work with his teammate Frosty to convert A.
Keep in mind here, it's now 209. They just want to avoid anything around the 230 mark. If it gets to 230, that is not enough room for error. They need to make sure they stop this within the next 15 or so points.
Oh, but look at that. The challenge comes in mid-map. I don't think Snakebite was expecting that, and understandably so. Rockets fall out of their hands. Frosty flies into C to get the reset. While he's doing that, the rest of his team are converting B. A triple cap here for Sen.
Frosty 17, 10, and 10 now. No other player on double-digit assists. It's him and him alone in that camp. And right now, like we said, now it's 240 with a trip cap. This one's going to be over soon.
It's going to be over soon. Frosty has the flank as well onto A. He should be able to clean up some of these kills on his way towards a victory. But no, look at C. It looks like a member from G2 managed to, at the last second, sneak into C. This game ain't done yet.
Not done just yet. But they're going to have to once again now play some absolutely amazing Halo here. A is getting flipped now. B will start to get flipped as well. So C also going now for Frosty, and it looks like if this one ticks,
look what just happened to A. Straight to get Gilkey picked up kills. So we thought this game was done, but at the last second, it looks like G2 are coming back into this one. Oh my word, Sentinels only need 2 points, but G2 are saying no.
They don't want to give up just yet, but like we said, all it will take is a single Sentinels push on the stronghold that they pick. They just need to take their time and get a play call here. They have enough of a point cushion where they can just decide exactly where they want to go.
Stab gets 2 though. Snakebite with that Stalker rifle trying to get these kills, clean up these kills, but it ain't happening for now. A is the play from Sentinels. Snakebite's going to pick up 1. This should be the game here. C is being converted as well. Is anyone going to be able to challenge B? It doesn't look like they are at the last second. It will be the points on the board as Snakebite gets the kill. Snakebite gets the reset. And more importantly, Sentinels get that game on the board. They're up 2-1.
You got to think that last volley from the side of G2, just an opportunity for Frosty to pad more of his stats, to be completely honest, as I think he ends that game with 21 kills, an enormous game from him and the side of Sentinels. And as you'd expect, not too much emotion from them. They know they need to close out this series, but it's a very good performance in that second game. Once again, G2 able to keep up in terms of points. However, it was really that devastating triple cap. It was an over 100-point swing. And as you said on set, they were totally fine letting the time tick. They're ready to play the full length of the Strongholds game, and when the opportunity arose, they struck with the triple cap.
I find it fascinating to watch Sentinels at the moment because we can see how good they can be. Right, when you got that triple cap, G2 could spawn on the map. I think they killed them 3 times in a row without pretty much taking a death themselves. But then you see those moments of awkwardness in the game as well, where maybe they get a little bit split across the map. There isn't a clear play call on, do we want to try and rotate to A here? Do we want to go back and defend C? It's all of these little things. It's fascinating to watch, and you know when that bottom level gets raised up a little bit more, becomes a little bit more consistent, the Sentinels are certainly going to be a team to watch moving forward. If they can do that through this series and throughout the rest of the day is the question for sure, but Frosty, my word, my friends, 21 and 11, and surprise, surprise, who else is joining him on 20? He's Snakebite.
That's right, 21-11 with 10 assists. That's what we call a royal flush where I'm from. Leader in every single category, not only on his team, but in the game. And I gotta tell you what, if you're a Sentinels fan, you're pretty happy with that result. We're taking a look at some highlights.
This was the play as well. I think the Stalker rifle in the hands of Frosty is something that should be prioritized at all times for Sentinels as well.
Also should be illegal.
Yeah, 100%. He was locking down so many lanes. Every single player from G2 who tried to step foot in B, it ain't happening without you getting there with no shield.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable set of plays, like you said. And I think Sentinels, here's the danger in this team, as Frosty just keeps going, killing spree, double kill there on screen for you. Also Snakebite getting the final reset on B just to make sure they close it out. But once again, when Sentinels moves as a force, we've seen it on Bazaar, we've now seen it on Streets, when they move together and they are firing on all cylinders, when they're clicking as a team, they are so dangerous, they're so tough to beat, and now they find themselves 1 game away from advancing on in the tournament, and G2 1 game away from being eliminated.
Yeah, a very interesting series indeed. Sentinels do have the opportunity, like you say, to close things out now as we move over to Aquarius capture the flag. Now, if we look through scrim results here, it's been a 5-0 in favor of the boys on your screen right now, Sentinels, so they've been pretty good. 0 flags been given up when won this weekend as well. That's pretty good record.
Not bad. Not bad at all. These guys are a defensive powerhouse. Once again, as we go to Aquarius CTF, we'll take a look at the most recent results from these teams. As we said, it's a 3-0 win for the side of Sentinels against FaZe, that one going to time. However, it's a loss for G2 against the Kansas City Pioneers, 2-3 in the end of that game. So if the last game's results were any indicator, we could see Sentinels with a slight edge in this one. As we say, it's an opportunity to close out, but the G2 that we were hoping to see largely on set has shown up in this series. I don't know if we've seen the best out of them, but they're going to have to dig deep and find the best.
That's the point. It's we see these flashes of brilliance from G2.
Yeah.
Game number 1, clutches. majority of the game is in control. They make good comebacks in game number 2, but they don't get over the line, and that seems to be just a consistent pattern of things at the moment for G2. So close to being brilliant, but just not being able to add those final pieces together to get the series victory on their side. They're going to have to do so now if they want to send this to a game 5 as we head over to Aquarius, capture the flag. First to 5 flags will win the game. Otherwise, it's the most amount of flags capped after that time limit runs out.
That's right, both teams wearing red and white on our main stage, but only one red and white will advance on after this series now 2-1 in favor of Sentinels. This is a must-win for G2, an opportunity for Sentinels to close it out.
A man who's been playing some crazy Halo over the last couple of days. Snakebite going to be taken down on our screens. A good start here from G2. They have map control. Can they get that camo, though? That's the real question here. Gilkey is going to pick up another kill onto Royal 2. He was one of the respawners, and now the move is going to come in onto camo. This is a really strong start for G2. A lot of map control for them. They did pick up that camo, I'm pretty sure, as well. Frosty now trying to flank bottom middle. Gilkey will get the trade. Snakebite also going to be in the feed as well. Tusk is the player who has that camo in his hands. First power goes to G2.
Yeah, 2 dead for both sides, and an opportunity for Tusk to at least establish some map control, get a lot of information for his team just like that. Could actually elect to shoot. Somehow might get away with it. No, he will die in the end. One thing we got to point out is Sentinels did so well to shut down Gilkey. His stats in Strongholds is a 1.39 KD, pretty monstrous. They really shut Gilk down in the last game, but got to point out, unsurprisingly, Frosty with huge KD also in CTF this tournament so far.
I thought you were just going to say Frosty with huge KD in Halo, just in general. It's something that we're very used to talking about, but for the moment, the first flag pull of the game is actually going to be G2's. It isn't going to get too far and should be returned pretty quickly here, but Gilkey is still being a nuisance. Snakebite picks up a kill onto Tusk, but speaking of nuisance, it's going to be Snakebite who feels the wrath as a little weapon drop comes in, this time with the heat wave. And now Gilkey has to be dealt with here by Sentinels, because when you got a player in your base who's got that heat wave, you never know what can happen. He picks up 1 kill across map here, gets that flag moving. Things look a little bit different, but Frosty ain't going to let that happen. 3 dead for G2.
Beautiful pre-nade from the top mid to prioritize killing the player in your base. You never want to pull a flag when there is a player in your base. It just creates way too many cross lines, way too many options for the team that's pushing against you, but Frosty knows to prioritize that kill. 2 dead for the side of G2 yet again.
Huge damage being done by Lethal as well. Managed to put 1 player to 1 shot. Also managed to clean up a kill on a player respawning, and now it's just a case of pick up 1 or 2 more kills here for Sentinels. They're playing it perfectly, they're playing it patient, but at the same time G2 have managed to get up the map a little bit, so they need to get these kills to get that flag home.
Nice patience, like you say. It's 3 dead. They're going to look for that last kill, make sure that no one's in position. That flag's going to come up, and Sentinels, there might be a team that, no better team, excuse me, that knows how to prioritize that patience. A lot of teams are in that situation, are going to rush. They're going to do whatever they can to get the flag into utility. They're going to panic. No, they drop the flag front base. They get the kills they need. They bring the flag home.
Experience and veteranship coming in those situations from Sentinels on display for everybody to see. Let's see what Tusk can do, though. Frosty will get taken down. That's exactly what he can do. 2-4 for Sentinels now. An opportunity for G2. Maybe to take a little walk up the Stairmaster here into the base. Lethal, though, is going to slow things down. And oh my word, his Royal 2 just jumps out of nowhere, slides into the vision, and hits the perfect 4 shot.
And as we said, G2 is going to have to dig deep here. 2v2 on the map at the moment, but we have not seen signs of brilliance and control from them, honestly, since game number 1. We have seen them on the back foot, on the receiving end of damage, really for the past 30 minutes of play, and it has not been them in the lead. They need to find a way to get control, get some flag runs started, and maybe find some more momentum as well.
2 dead for G2. Royal 2 starting to warm up in this game as well. He's 5 and 5, excuse me, with 6 assists to his name. So even numbers, but a lot of damage being done. And he's not missing too many bullets, as you would expect. Controlling this utility room at the moment. Lethal also picking up kills, and he's just being a turret now as he moves forward with Frosty to try and get a pull moving here for Sen.
This is Sentinels at their most dangerous, just pushing in, baiting and switching on the base. We've seen what they could do with the buddy system, and they will wreak havoc in your base. Right now, G2 doing whatever they can to fight out of it, but they do well. It's 2v2 at the end of that exchange. 3 dead, make that going to be 3 dead for each side. Gilkey versus Lethal top mid.
Camo popping in a few seconds as well. Sab coming off respawn's going to fly up that pink street, and with that kill, should be able to pick up this camo. Will be able to escape back to his teammates. Is he going to engage with that camo now? Yes, he is. Frosty picks up a kill onto Gilkey, though. So even though they have the power up in the hands, it's going to have to be used in a defensive capacity now. Big grenade coming in and takes him down to no shield. Lethal has no idea that he's here as well. And he gets taken down. I love what I'm seeing here from Sab, just prioritizing everything he needs to keep that flag at home. But here's Royal 2 with the double as he takes him down.
Sab, just like you said, Sab doing everything he can to stay alive, and the trigger discipline there with the camo to make sure he didn't waste it. He can get spotted out faster. In the end, though, it's good pressure from Sentinels to make sure that camo wasn't too effective.
Beat down from Frosty. Sab going to win the battle, though. As G2 really, at the moment, struggling to get past that 50-yard line. All these kills are happening, all the trades are happening in their third of the map, which is not what you want. If you get caught on your third of the map and you find yourself losing a couple of battles, you're in that respawn screen and Sentinels can get inside of that base. Get that flag moving. Straysick, though, finally wins a battle on the car side of the map to give them a bit of space to play with, but then it's just answered back again. Straysick taken down, Royal 2 picking up that kill onto Sab as well. 3 dead here for G2.
And just as quickly as you thought, you might see some momentum, some energy from the side of G2 Sentinels. As you say, he gets 3 dead and that flag is already halfway home.
Royal 2's responsibility, watch those overextenders on the P side of the map. Snakebite's responsibility, pad those stats, buddy. Put that flag home and double the lead in this game. It's now 2-0 to Sentinels. G2 reeling in this game number 4.
Snakebite there certainly getting the comms that he should take the shortcut up the stairs. Don't go all the way around the back of the base and risk those nades. And great communication continues from the side of Sentinels. You got 3 players now on double-digit kills. Snakebite not far behind with 9.
Dynamite is going to be tickling away at the shield. Straysick going to look to finish off the kill, but it's actually Tusk who comes in to finish off the damage. 3 dead here. Lethal last alive. Tusk is going to be able to spot him out as well, and the flag is moving here for G2. So even though they haven't had too many opportunities to move a flag, this is the best one so far. Sam's back to his utility. Frosty picks up 1, but it looks like this should be a clear run home, and G2 will be able to put their first flag on the board.
Oh boy, a little bit of scary territory. The flag does not go. There. Right away, Gilkey was the last player alive from the back of the base, made sure to get that flag in.
But they've overextended for it. They had to as well. They had to throw resources at it. Tusk is going to get put in the blender by Frosty off the respawn, and now there's a counter cap opportunity here for Sentinels. It was 3, 4 dead. 2 players still stuck in the respawn screen as the flag is past the halfway mark. Sen answer back almost immediately. They just have to convert.
That's it. Could be a 3rd flag coming in right now as we take a look. Snakebite also looking at his opponent's screen, knows that there's someone in the utility. Great communication once again. And just like that, that was 4 dead for a second. This flag will go.
And this is the pieces of Sentinels that are starting to click. These are the decisions being made and being responded to. Everything is starting to work here for Sentinels. We're not seeing the little mistakes. We're not seeing the little errors that lead to G2 being given a lifeline to get back into the series. At the moment, it is efficient Halo at its very best coming in from Sen. This is scary on a championship Sunday.
It is. This is the Sentinels of old. I think this is the Sentinels that people have been waiting to see. The return of Royal 2 here for the first time in a very long time, over 3 years in LAN play. Frosty picking up where he left off. The man is 20-12. He is popping off.
He certainly is. Gilkey picking up a kill is at least going to allow Sab to get forward with that heat wave in his hands, but it's just been the Sentinel show so far. It's 3-1 in the game. Only that 1 pull that came in from G2, they were able to convert on, but that is something to worry about if you're a Sentinels fan. The fact that it only takes 1 pull, and G2 know the pieces they have to put together to get a flag cap on the board.
Flag carrier goes down. Take a look at this. Stab was trying to get top mid angles, but behind that, Gilkey actually goes down, and Lethal with a great push out of the base, and now it's going to be a full collapse. And the G2 pull just gets absolutely annihilated by Sentinels.
Yeah, great play from Sentinels defensively there. A little bit of a misstep, a little bit, maybe a miscommunication coming in from G2. Gilkey going to be in a 1v1. He's going to lose that one. Snakebite ain't lost too many of those today. I can tell you that. Every time we see him in a 1v1, his POV seems to stay alive a little bit longer than his opponents.
He's also dropped the heat wave there. Sharing is carrying on the side of Sentinels and able to grab a side kick and a thrust to try to push into the enemy base, but we'll see exactly where that heat wave went. He dropped it for Frosty. He said, Frosty, you're popping off right now. You got 22 kills and camo. I'll give you the heat wave.
See what we can do with it. See if he can get in the base. Lethal's going to be able to pick up 1 kill. Straysick going to be taking damage from that Dynamo. Easy cleanup here for Frosty. And I like this, just wrapping back, realizing that a couple of teammates have fallen. And there's going to be a couple of weak players that are just going to add to his tally around the 50-yard line on this map. 24-13 now is Bradley Bergstrom, and he's looking for more inside of the G2 base.
He's just 1 away now from having 10 more kills than anyone on the opposing team. And if that doesn't convince you, first of all, my God, they have no idea where Frosty is. Beautiful double kill in the back of the base. This should be a pull as well.
4 dead for G2. Frosty picks up the double on the overextenders. He runs the flag. He's got it past halfway. He's got support across the map as well. Snakebite giving the pings, but it doesn't matter because it looks like Frosty is going to be picking up wins here. He makes it 4-1 now the score for Sentinels. One more flag to go.
And you ask yourself on the G2 side of the stage, what on earth can we do in 2 minutes and 41 seconds to try to get 3 flags on the board, especially when Frosty is a few kills away from the 30 mark.
Yeah, I'm looking for the 30 bomb. Lethal's stolen it, but that one you can't take away. Frosty picks up another kill. Straightstick going to be challenging. I've got the feeling that Frosty might jump back out there, feeling confident, but Straightstick at least wins one battle here, but it's not enough because every single player from G2 back on that respawn screen.
I was going to say, the only thing that's going to prevent Frosty from hitting 30 kills is going to be the objective efficiency of Sentinels here, because they're thinking about that 5th flag very quickly now. Still thinking about it, and Snakebite still applying the pressure. He'll fall eventually. That flag will go back home, but still with 2 minutes on the clock here, G2 needs a prayer, and a really good one if they want to have any chance of putting flags on the board here, and you'd have to bet that this one's going to be a Sentinel series.
It takes me back to the Halo 3 days where you used to load into an Onslaught game and matchmaking, go up 4-0 against some poor Brigadiers who maybe have only just accidentally entered the playlist. Go 4-0 up, pad those stats, excuse me. For now, Frosty, though, is going to hit 30 and 15. For the man they call Frosty. Lethal now just patrolling around the bottom pink. Flag is moving, though, from G2. For the first time in quite some time, it's pressure onto Sentinels to make a defensive play.
It's a difficult final minute here for G2, and they're trying to get this flag back. We'll see if they can get one more flag on the board just for a better score line in the end, but you have to think it's a difficult final moment for them in this series. They're going to bring this flag home, presumably based on 2 dead for the side of Sentinels. So with 1 minute 15 left, if they're able to get 2 dead 2 times, they could run this.
I'm just saying, I've seen some comebacks on this map. You can go back to back.
Here we go.
They need to go back to back. Here comes the push from G2. And while we're telling the story of Frosty having a merry old time, picking up some kills, G2 listen,
again.
And G2 say, hey, we ain't done yet. They've got 3 dead. They got that flag moving again. They've got 54 seconds to make a play. Gilkey makes the play.
Had to stay alive there, and they need all the help they can get here. They need more kills. They're 2 dead again. 2 fresh spores on the fridge. It's Royal 2 from the fridge to pick up that kill. Look at the cheeky angle.
Royal 2 had to get that kill. If Gilkey gets away there, that's probably an opportunity for another cap for G2. Tarsky's going to be trying to force this, understandably so. Frosty says, I'll add my 32nd kill to my tally. And with just 28 seconds to go now, Sentinels relieve the pressure for a few seconds after a good push coming in from G2.
G2 with signs of brilliance, and you might have started to panic as a Sentinels fan there in the end when you saw players dropping around the base and 3 dead. Frosty's just going to fly in. Why not? 33 kills. It's a little bit of double dynamo action there. Gilkey is the last victim on the base here. They'll pull the flag even with 9 seconds left.
33 kills for Frosty. I'm taking off 1 because I'm pretty sure you took Lethal down as well. Snakebite with the heat wave is going to pick up another kill. Frosty's going to run the final flag home here by the looks of things for Sentinels, but it doesn't matter. The time expires. As so does the time on G2's tournament. G2 fall out. Sentinels will win the series 3-1.
Once again, it's what we expect to see from Sentinels in their top form. Royal 2 is back on the stage, and even after dropping game number 1 to a huge deficit, 2 rounds to 0, they answer right back, and they'll win the next 3. A very strong performance from the side of Sentinels.
Really, really impressive, and I just feel like the more games they play, the better they are looking at the moment, and it's almost as if that's kind of been the story for Sentinels this season, right? They'll go through the open bracket with Formal with no practice whatsoever. That was their practice. They got better every single series, every single game. And now it's feeling like the same story here as they fall down to the elimination bracket. More game time. Things are starting to click with Royal 2 again. And those mistakes that we were kind of highlighting yesterday seem to be disappearing and put to the side.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing with Sentinels is they are finding a way to regroup much faster. When they find themselves, say, 2 or 3 dead, they're able to find out where do we need to push, who is available, who needs to stay alive, and how are we going to make those pushes together. And that's what we're seeing from Sentinels. Like, it doesn't matter the map. When they're pushing in packs of 2, they're so efficient. They're on the same exact page. They're sliding straight into the room at the same time to pick up those 2v1s and get exactly where they need to get on the map.
I think one thing to point out as well is when I'm looking at statistics from Sentinels as well, I look across each stat for each player and I'm like, that's what I expect to see. Yeah. I expect to see Frosty at the top.
Outliers.
I expect to see Lethal around evens, but doing a huge amount of damage. And you know what I mean? Everything seems to be lining up statistically as well as reflecting on what we're seeing on the maps as well. So Sentinels look like they're starting to click, and it's scary for anyone who's going to be taking them on today.
Yeah, they also shut down the players that we were talking about. Straightstick and Gilkey. Really, we didn't see them after game number 1 popping off on the scoreboard. And I think, like we said, for the side of G2 to win games, they need to have players that are going huge and much bigger than the top 6 performances that we're used to.
Let's put you on the spot a little bit here. Have you seen enough from Sentinels to think that if they go into a rematch with Cloud9 a little bit later on, that they can overturn what we saw from them on the first stage, do you think they've got enough to win a tournament here?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly where my head has already gone, right? After that series, that's the one thing I'm thinking about. Personally, I don't think even that was convincing enough to tell me that C9, that they have what it takes to take down C9 without a doubt. I think they have a chance, but I think we're going to need, we have Sentinels right here. We're going to need to see them right here if they're going to take down Cloud9.
Yeah, and that's the margins, isn't it, at the moment? I feel like, Sentinels have gone here to here to here to here, but that little bit at the top
that 10%, that's
is even more important, and we're going to have to see if Sentinels can find that extra little bit of juice as they do progress in the tournament. But for now, we're going to go down to our main stage. The man who's got more swagger than anyone on this broadcast is alongside Blaze, who also has the most swagger on the broadcast.
Thank you very much,
There's a lot
guys,
of swagger
all right?
here at the moment. It's Frosty from Sentinels.
All right, here we go. Frosty coming out on top once again. We got the Frosty and Blaze broadcast on the main stage. Now, coming into this series, you guys lost map number 1, and then you go into that Slayer, and things looked a little bit more scarier. Talk to me about some of the final moments of that game, because if you watch the first series we had today, it looked reminiscent of that map number 2.
Right. Yeah, I mean, well, going into the first map, first off, I mean, we kind of just chalked that up to like a little warm-up game. They're really good on that map. We scrimmed them a lot coming into this event, so like we knew not to take them lightly. And first game, honestly, that might have been the case. They came out hot, we didn't.
Yeah.
So game 2, obviously, towards the end, it was getting a little scary, but I mean, everyone just stayed composed. You know what I mean? It wasn't over until it was over, and we just kept our heads in it the whole time.
Yeah, and then from that point on, you guys tie the series up 1-1, and then from there, you guys go start making some moves on that objective work, okay? Running the flags, playing the strongholds. There was even a portion in that strongholds where they started to come back a little bit because they had some shooters on their team. Gilkey was popping off, Sad was popping off, but, going up against them, you dropped about 35 kills on that last map to close it out. How are you guys playing today? Because I know you want to be a champion again.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you guys are in that championship form right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely are. Obviously, Championship Sunday, you got to battle. And then obviously, if you want to win a tournament, you got to beat every single team. So that's what we came to do. I believe we play United next. So, I mean, we're just eyes forward, and we're all locked in, ready to go. All
right, my last question for you, and it's a simple one, okay? How do you teach the players out there who's trying to be as frosty as you, okay, when it comes down to getting kills and looking so smooth? If you had to give them any tips, what would it be?
Just have fun with it. That's it. That's all it comes down to. Just have fun.
Hey, good luck. Have fun with it, okay? That's going to do it for being Frosty for now. Lottie, break this whole series down.
Thank you so much, Blaze. Thank you so much, Frosty, as well. Yeah, you got to have fun with it. You got to have fun while you're doing it. If you're in a good mood, then you're probably going to be getting the kills, the slays across the board. But I've got to say, one epic performance from Sentinels across the board there. And, I think, Blaze put it quite well. The first map was a little bit shaky. It was a bit nerve-wracking. But I think Frosty answered back pretty well. They have been scrimming quite often against G2. It is one of their favorites to come and practice against. And they have to take them seriously. At this level in the competition, you have to give respect to every single opponent that comes against you on that main stage. Oddball is just looking a little bit difficult for Sentinels at the moment. Objective-wise, they look like they're a little bit lost in terms of what they want to do. I feel like they're getting separated quite a lot. Gaskin, talk to me about what you saw there with some of the mistakes, and we'll get into some of the best bits.
I think that they were, Frosty said it best when they were just a little bit slow to get it started. It was almost a warm-up game, and because G2 are so good at that game type and they were so quick, Sentinels found themselves falling behind, and we touched upon that before the series started. They are a little bit slow out of the block, so they were fine with losing it because they knew they had a series layout that was going to benefit them. I wouldn't say there was loads of mistakes. I just think it was a case of G2 seemed to have a little bit better teamwork when it comes to setting up and making sure those crosses work, putting yourself in those scenarios.
Indeed.
I spoke about at the start of the series how G2 needed to plant the seed of doubt in Sentinels' minds by winning game 1. They done just that, but what happened then was there was no water for the seed, the soil was barren, and unfortunately for them, they lost the Slayer, which I put down to that they would necessarily win. Last time they scrimmed against each other, it was 50-49. What happens is, Snipebite drops the rock as the Frosty, now it's the Frosty show from there on out.
Yeah, I mean, I love the analogy there. I think you're totally right. It really was indeed. It was quite a pretty decent showing from Sentinels thereafter. Let's just quickly talk about that last map, that CTF Aquarius. That actually previously has been one of Sentinels' kind of weaker maps, actually, and it's evolved into this really well-rounded team situation there when they come into that Aquarius map. They know exactly what they want to do. They're pretty quick as well on the flag pulls, and often we're seeing back-to-back pulls from them, Walshy.
Yeah, the most impressive part is when they're pulling those flags, they're still keeping control. So they're not desperating anytime they're bringing those flags back. there's so many teams you'll see out there that in order to get that flag capture in, they're giving up a lot of deaths. Not the case with Sentinels.
No, it's not at all. And I've got to say, I also like the conversation between Bravo and Onset about, do they have what it takes right now to be that level up with the competition? Can they defeat Cloud9 in a rematch? They want to see 10% extra. Well, they still have a ways to go. They're going to be going up against the United. This is going to be a huge elimination match. And this is going to be quite a big task, a tall task for both of our teams here. So I'm excited to see if they can give us that 10% going into that elimination match. But let's right now bring up the bracket. Let's see exactly where we are at into your Sunday. It is, of course, Championship Sunday. And as I just said, in the elimination bracket, we do have United versus Sentinels for your elimination semis. And then the elimination finals will be whoever wins this elimination semis versus, in our winners bracket, whoever's going to be falling short in that winners finals, which is going to be coming up next. And it's going to be Cloud9 versus Optic Gaming. My goodness, I'm really, really stoked to see this one happening on the main stage next. Cloud9 versus Optic Gaming, it really is for me at this point in time a battle of two titans. And does this come down to series layout for you, Gaskin, do you think?
In my opinion, it always comes down to series layout, doesn't it? We do have the kind of better games for one team and better games for the other, but I will say that Cloud9 do seem to have a better map pool in general. I think you can put any series layout in front of them and Cloud9 are like, bring it. The only kind of worry I have is when Cloud9 played against Fnatic over in the pool play, there were a couple of games here or there that I think maybe Optic will be hoping feature in this series. And because there's been a few rounds since then, it's quite a high possibility that they will.
There is quite a high possibility. We'll find out what that series layout is just after this break, because when we come back from it, we have our winners final set up on the main stage. It's Championship Sunday. One of these teams is going to bound forward into the grand final. One is going to fall short, but they're going to be facing some pretty fierce competition if they want to get back into that grand final spot. We'll see you right after this.